What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to Cashed Out. It's 2021 and there's been a bunch of new cameras that have come out over the past year or so now. We've had the Canon R5 come out, the Canon R6, I think the Sony a7S III. I mean, the list goes on. Ton of new cameras, which is awesome. But with the new cameras also comes a higher price tag, right? You don't get all that fancy new gear without paying a high price tag. So on this channel, obviously we love talking about ways to save money on tech. So we're not going to focus on the fancier new ones. We're actually going to focus on cheaper, relatively speaking, a cheaper camera, a few years older, but that's super useful and still very valid in 2021. We're going to be talking about the Canon EOS R and talk about whether or not it's still worth it to buy in 2021. So let's get into some of the details about this awesome camera. Now, the first reason to consider buying the EOS R in 2021 is the price tag. At $1799, you compare that price tag to some of the newer cameras, you're looking at about $38.99 for the R5, $24.99 for the R6, or $34.98 for the a7S III. Now, those are some hefty price tags. Obviously, those are the newest models. You're gonna get all the latest stuff, but that's about a $700 to about $2,100 difference in price between those cameras and the Canon EOS R. So first reason to consider buying this in 21 is just to save money. Save that money. Now, when it comes to camera gear, there's a neat saying that I read recently on a message board, and they mentioned that you want to marry the glass but date the body, right? You don't want to invest too much time and money into the body of your camera, but you want to pour that money and invest it into quality glass. Now, quality glass, that means the lenses that you put in front of your camera body. Now, the lenses that you put can make the world of difference in the quality of photos and videos that you get out of your camera body. High quality lenses can take a solid camera body and create some phenomenal looking stuff with it. Now, with this Canon EOS R coming in at such a cheaper price, relatively speaking, kind of a cheaper price relatively speaking to the other newer cameras, you're going to be able to save a lot of money, get a really high quality camera, and we're going to talk a little bit more about the quality of images and the quality of video that this camera produces, but you're going to get a really solid camera that you can now invest glass into and invest lighting gear into and be able to really create some awesome stuff. So first reason to consider this camera, save some money, get it a little bit cheaper than some of the newer stuff. Now, the second reason to consider buying this camera is the versatility that the EOS R produces. Now, this camera is super versatile. You're going to be able to do photos, you're going to be able to do videos, whatever you need to do, this camera can do it all. When it comes to photo, this camera is absolutely awesome. It's got a 30 megapixel sensor and it allows you to be able to get some really beautiful shots. I've got some shots rolling on the screen here, but that 30 megapixel sensor allows you to be able to get a lot of details in your shot. So if you want to blow it up and make a poster or, do a canvas, whatever you want to do with your photos, you're going to be able to do that and have a lot of details into it. This EOS R also comes with the awesome Canon color science, so you know that the colors that you're going to get out of your photos are going to look awesome. Canon always does a great job with their colors, so that's no different with this camera. So the photos in this camera are absolutely rock solid. You're not going to miss a thing using this camera for photography. Now, on top of being a beast at photography, this camera is also awesome when it comes to video footage. This camera can shoot footage in the all-eye compression, which is meant to produce higher quality of video. Now, with the all-eye compression, your file size is going to be larger, and the reason for that is because each frame is a higher quality frame, therefore the whole video clip is a higher quality clip. So I'll take the trade-off between higher quality footage and larger file size, but the footage coming out of here is absolutely awesome. I'm shooting right now in the 1080 all-eye compression and it looks awesome. I like the image coming out of here, and the bitrate that this camera records in is also absolutely great because at 1080 it can record up to 180 megabits per second, and at 4K it can actually record up to 480 megabits per second. Now, when it comes to the bitrate, the higher the bitrate, the better, because more data is getting captured and transferred. So that's really good numbers in terms of the techie side of things, but what that means is that the quality image that you're going to get from this camera in terms of video is absolutely awesome. Now, when you record 4K, this does have a crop, so it's going to crop in when you record 4K, so just kind of keep that in mind, but the quality that you're gonna get is really awesome. So image quality in terms of photography is absolutely fantastic. Video quality is absolutely fantastic. So in whatever you need this camera to do, it's going to be able to do it for you. So versatility with this EOS R is off the charts. Another reason to look into it in 2021. The third and final reason to consider this camera this year is that this camera is absolutely feature rich. It's filled with a lot of neat little features that make it worthwhile and just make it a blast to use. Now, I'm not going to cover all the features that this camera comes with. I'm just going to hit on 3 features that I think are really cool and add to the value of this camera. The first one is the protective sensor cover. Now, typically whenever you take off the lens from your camera, the sensor gets exposed because there's nothing shielding it from the elements. But here with this camera, whenever you take the lens off, there's a sensor cover that drops in automatically and covers up your sensor while you're changing lenses. Now, this is awesome. I honestly think this is absolutely genius because it keeps your camera from getting dust and other random stuff dropping into the sensor while you're changing stuff out and, you know, alternating. So if you're shooting outside and, you know, a gust of wind picks up or something like that, you're not going to have a bunch of dust slide into your sensor. So that sensor cover is absolutely handy, super useful. I love this thing on this camera. The second feature that I love is the top screen display. Now, this display is super handy. It allows you to see what settings you have turned on. It can give you a snapshot of the view. You can actually change the modes of whether you're shooting manual, whether you're shooting aperture. You can kind of bounce back and forth between that. You can actually bounce from photo to video. It just provides a lot of information and it's super easy to read. You know, it's not super complex. It's not like 10 million digits and figures and numbers all over the screen. It's very small, but it's super simple, super basic, super easy to read. So I love that top display sensor. I know some people don't like it, but for me, absolutely love that feature. Last feature that I'm going to hit on is the 3.2-inch variable LCD screen. Now, this LCD screen is nicely sized, very nicely sized. It's a little bit bigger than the R6 and also the one in the A7S III, and it has very high resolution, is high quality. Actually, looking at it compared to maybe like my EOS RP or some of the other cameras I've had, when you look at the image on there, it actually looks pretty good, and it's big enough to where you can kind of look at some of the details, zoom in a little bit better. It's very responsive. You don't have to really, you know, like poke it all the time or work too hard to move around on that LCD screen. It's very high quality and I really love it. And kind of right now when I'm shooting this talking head piece, I can look at it over here and everything looks great on it. So really love this feature. It's simple stuff. Like none of these features are like mind-blowing except the sensor cover. That one, I really like that one. I think that blew my mind the first time I saw it. But very simple features and they really add some good value to this camera. Overall, I really love this EOS R and I think it's definitely worth buying in 2021. The price tag is super attractive. It's way cheaper than some of the other newer cameras that are coming out. And as we mentioned, take that savings and invest it into glass, invest it into lenses. And the versatility of this camera is awesome. You're gonna be able to do photos, gonna be able to do video, whatever you'd ever want to do with a camera, you're gonna be able to do it with this camera. And in terms of the features, there's a ton of awesome, super handy features that are just make this camera a joy to use. So if you're in the market for a new camera or if you're looking to upgrade your current camera, definitely look into the EOS R. It's not too old, honestly. It's only a couple years old, maybe 2 or 3 years old, and it's definitely still worth a buy in 2021. So hope you guys liked this video. I hope it helped. You know, hopefully if you're looking to make the decision to dive into the R, go for it. If you're looking to save money and get an awesome camera, definitely go for it. So if you enjoyed this video, be sure to hit that like button below, subscribe if you haven't yet, and we'll talk to you guys on the next one. Take it easy.